YouTube friends, Ben Ochart here. Thank you so much for tuning in. For those of you that follow my channel, you know that recently I had a bit of an upheaval in the tank here behind me, and it got to the point where I actually had to pull the sand diver out of the tank and put him into the 100-gallon, which you saw a couple videos ago. And why that switch flipped in their little fish brains is about to be explored. One of my theories is that one of the fish in my tank that I was hoping was a male is actually a female and has been releasing hormones into the water. So I'm going to do a couple things. First of all, I'm going to do a pretty large water change. When you do water changes, you do a couple things. Of course, you do the obvious. You reduce nitrates, depending on the nitrates coming out of your tap, of course, if you have some. But you do reduce nitrates normally. You also add minerals to the water, which may have settled and are no longer helping to neutralize nitrates or adding hardness to the water. And it also removes hormones that are secreted by fish that can build up over time. So I'm going to do a pretty major water change, and when I have the water level low, I'm going to put a divider in the middle of the tank so I don't have to be chasing fish from side to side. I'm going to remove the decor, and I'm going to capture a couple of these fish, put them in a bucket, and then I'm going to do what is commonly referred to as venting. So instead of waiting several years and going through several episodes of aggression, I'm going to go ahead and take a look and see if I have a male or a female, in particular with the eye biter and the Malawi hawk. I need to determine once and for all, rather than wait years and years only to be disappointed because they never color up. Now keep in mind, sometimes fish will not color up because they're intimidated, they're subdominant, and really just want to stay invisible from the dominant fish. If that's the case, I don't care. I'll put them back in. At some point they may color up anyway. But if it's a female that is releasing hormones and exciting the male fish in the tank to a point where they feel they need to battle for territory or the ability to spawn or breed with her, then I need to remove that fish because it's going to be creating some aggression that I simply don't want in the tank. So let's go ahead and get started, and certainly share your thoughts below. If you vent fish and have some tips, I'd love to hear them. And if you've had any difficulties with mixed male-female tanks, certainly share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear it. And do rate and share. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that sub button and that bell button that's down there. There's a little bell that if you hit it, you'll get notifications when I release a video. Okay, so let's get to it. Venting isn't always an easy process, and in some cases it is recommended that you wear what is called a jeweler's loupe or a magnifying glass. I went to a website called fishhead.com, and it provided some photos that could help guide me through the process. It actually had a very detailed article that focused on African cichlids. I suggest that you go to fishhead.com and check out the article because it has a lot of valuable information on how to correctly vent fish and what to look for. And in some cases, the male and females are very, very similar. In other cases, like in the case of frontosas and fish like that, they're very different. But Tanganjikans and some Victorians, some of the smaller fish, you're definitely going to need that jeweler's loupe or some kind of magnification. So as you can see, I've reduced the water level significantly, and I'm going to drop it a few more inches. I'm actually going to do about an 80% to an 80% water change. And I was able to corral the fish and end up with the eye biter on one side of the tank, which is actually the fish I wanted to vent and who I suspect is the female. I'm also going to be venting the Malawi hawk, of course. You want to be real calm and steady in doing this because the fish will bang against the divider and against the sides of the tank, and they will hurt themselves. So be real careful when you do this. No real jerky motions, no real pounding on anything. That'll startle the fish because they really can't hurt themselves. Okay, so I have the hawk and the eye biter in the bucket. And let's go ahead and grab one. Whenever handling fish, especially if they jump out of your tank, always make sure your hands are wet. Of course, when you're reaching into the tank or a bucket, that's not an issue. Just a point, though, that's important because a dry hand will take the slime coat off of a fish. Also be careful on some of the bigger fish because their dorsal fin can have a sharp stem or point that can really hurt you. So here's the hawk. Let's take a good look at him here. You can see here, not sure if you can make it out, the hawk is, it looks like the holes are very close in size, almost identical in size. So I'm not convinced the hawk is a female. This may actually be a male fish. So let's take a look here at the eye biter. I suspect the eye biter may be the culprit since the trouble started after I added the eye biter. Be real careful with their eyes when handling them this way. All right, here's the eye biter. Now the eye biter has a very noticeable difference. The back hole is noticeably larger than the front hole. So I'm betting that this one is actually a female. And I'm not sure if you can make that out or not with the lighting the way it is, but I believe this one is a female. And I'm going to be putting this fish in the 30-gallon, and that is now available since it's no longer being used for quarantine. And I'm probably going to rehome her or give her away to somebody here in Southern California who wants a nice female eye biter. Well, there you go. Hopefully between the removal of the eye biter and the large water change, the significant water change that you see still draining behind me, I'm going to remove the hormones from the water, and hopefully the fish will calm down. Maybe at that point I can reintroduce the sand diver, but I think I'm going to be venting that sand diver as well because that might also be a female since he's already pushing, I would say, over between 6 and 7 inches and still really shows no signs of color. He has a pointed anal fin and some occasional flashes, but no real color at all. And so I'm suspecting that may be a female as well. So at any rate, no more guessing for me, no more waiting for 2 or 3 years and only being frustrated to discover that a fish is a female. After all, I'm going to be using this technique referred to as venting and determining once and for all. And also I'm going to be shifting more, especially with the larger fish, shifting over to buying guaranteed colored up males from reputable. I love growing them out, and I love watching them color up and reward me by being a male. But in some cases, it takes so long, and you're better off just going ahead and picking up a male, and then paying the extra money and doing so. And so I'll probably be adding an eye biter, a male eye biter to this tank, and a few other key fish over the next few weeks or months for that matter. So certainly stay tuned. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this helped, and be sure to comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are, and share and rate, and be sure to hit that bell so you get notifications. And there you have it. Thank you.